Now, let's talk about Down syndrome. This is another very common diagnosis that you may see when you have kids coming to you for swim lessons. So I want you to know a little bit about what to expect. First of all, kids with Down syndrome are so social typically. They love interacting socially. They're very motivated to be praised or to interact with others, and it makes them so fun to work with. But one thing you should be aware of is that every child with Down syndrome has some level of an intellectual delay. It might be mild or it might be more severe. And what that means is their cognitive age may not match with their developmental age. So they might present as being younger than they actually are, or having interests that are younger than what you might expect for a child their age. Also, they commonly will have some sort of a language delay where they're able to speak, but the articulation might not be really clear. Sometimes you might have a hard time understanding exactly what they're saying. You might have to use strategies like asking them to slow down or to repeat themselves in order to really understand what they're saying. So you definitely want to consider, if they have a language delay or if they have an intellectual delay, making sure that you're accommodating for that, making sure that you're using shorter phrases, single words instead of long strings of sentences to explain things or to give directions. Another thing you should know is that kids with Down syndrome have low muscle tone. And what that means is that their muscles, when they're at rest, are a little bit looser than your muscle is when it's at rest. Our muscles have this muscle tone to it. It's the readiness of the muscle to be used at any moment, so we can really kick it in when we need to. And children with Down syndrome have lower muscle tone at rest. And what that means is it's harder for them to build strength, and it's going to be harder for them to do power moves. Now, it doesn't mean that they can't get stronger. It just means that maybe it will be a little bit more of a challenge. So you might find that you have this child in the pool and they're kicking their legs, but maybe they're not kicking strong enough to really propel themselves forward. So you'll need to spend a lot of time on building that strength through a lot of motor repetition. Another good tip is to use social rewards to help motivate a child with Down syndrome. They might not be that interested in working really hard to build their muscles. I know that feels for sure. And so you need to think of ways that you can keep them motivated to do the hard work. And that's where social comes into play. Because children with Down syndrome tend to be very motivated in that way, you can use things like praising them, cheering them on, telling them that mom's going to take a video of them, or different things like that to help keep them motivated as you're teaching them their swim lessons. So, in summary, children with Down syndrome will sometimes have a language delay where it might make them harder to be understood. They oftentimes have low muscle tone, and they're going to have a little bit of an intellectual delay or even a large delay. And so you'll need to make accommodations for that.